Hey guys, if you love QF's content on our free Sundays and Thursday sessions, then please visit our Patreon page in the description and sub to the Black Kluge tier or higher for full access to not only our bonus weekly Tuesday night shows and the alternate Sunday shows you've been missing, but also to the exclusive episodes not available to the lower tiers. It's roughly the price of one coffee a month, and nobody at Starbucks will make you laugh like we do for that kind of scratch. In addition, when you sub to the Black Kluge tier, you'll get 2 weeks advance access to each Thursday session on Patreon before it makes it to YouTube.
World and the hip hop world and so on, they'll drop these things, and we've never done a drop. Good morning, Bryce.
How many?
Are you off to school? That's my son, Bryce. Are you going to school? Dude, we just played the new song on Howard. Thank you.
Let me see that kid. Where is he? Come here, Bryce.
Say hi to Howard. Howard wants to say hi.
Hey, Bryce.
Can you see
wow,
Howard?
you're a good-looking kid.
He's saying you're a good-looking kid.
Thanks, Howard.
Hey, can't hear you.
You're a good-looking kid.
Good morning, Robin.
Dude.
Also.
Morning, Robin.
Let me take a look. Wow, the whole band is there. Look at that band.
We're in for a treat.
Good-looking boys. Look at that band. What is it? Richard, what's going on in your asshole?
Well, I don't turn around and look at my asshole very much. So
Unfortunately, I do.
This was news to me.
Is this? Did you see it? Because we're, like Mehmet was telling me, he's trying to find a magnetic fish that'll go in Richard's asshole.
Sal's face was like right down there, and he goes, "Oh!" Like he freaked out when he saw it.
Let me see your asshole.
Romantic comedy.
That's right, Robin. You and I love romantic. I'll watch two gay guys fall in love. What the fuck? I love that shit. Yeah, why not? I think it's great. I wish it was more graphic.
Oh, I must have blocked that out.
It was kind of like this thick. I didn't block it out. I always check out guys' penises.
Average OnlyFans account. I found a website that said it was like $7 is what the average OnlyFans subscription is, and this is $40. That's more than like any streaming service. You know, so it's a monthly recurring thing. That's crazy.
$40. You should at least see the inside of his asshole, not just the ass cheeks.
Oh, sure.
No, you're right. And the other thing.
But I did. I got through it. I'm not.
You soldier on.
I'm masculine as all hell, ladies.
Like a troop.
All that shit I did back then.
Did your friends ever jizz on you?
No, it was so. Oh my God, this is so gross.
In Jersey.
Is that what you wear, Nick? Magnums? Is that your brand?
Oh, I think that.
Be honest. Seriously.
What? That is the one I prefer.
Yes, something else. Those are the ones I prefer. You prefer them because you're so fucking big down there. Jesus. Magnum is for guys who are extraordinarily big.
I'll know what you want me to do.
I mean, I can't imagine, with your 9 inches, I can't imagine any woman ever leaving you. I mean, honestly, it's amazing.
I do get...
Welcome, ladies and gents, to QF, a podcast about Howard Stern. I'm your host, Fillmore, a.k.a. Jim Fix, DJ Jim Fix, a.k.a. DJ Lasagna. I'm here with Mr. Jay Santi from Turnbuckle Tabloid. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, I'm doing well. And if we're going by DJs, my name will be DJ Misery. That's what I pretty much have been going through, listening to the new Stern stuff. You guys are doing a phenomenal job with covering the new, because wow, it is. I wouldn't even know where to begin on my Lancer or where to end it.
Yeah, thanks, man. Have you heard the Mehmet stuff? Do you agree that it's a step in the right direction back, but then almost anything would be?
It is, but he's kind of got a blend of the old school antagonist, stirring the pot kind of thing going on. But I also agree with the fact that Mehmet actually is the voice of the people that knows what the people are saying and it pays attention to.
Well, this one, guys, we're going straight into the archives. This is January 16th, 2002. Suge Knight's about, 6-7 months released from prison the first time he went in. This was for parole. Let me see if I got it. His parole violation. he had three strikes rule. This last time after that. One of the last times he went in, but it was a hit and run, which is funny actually when you read it. The entire, just the whole thing, the way they explained it. Let me just get to the first thing here. Probation leading to incarceration. On October 22nd, 1996, Knight was sent to jail pending a hearing on the probation violation that happened on September 7th, 1996, when Suge and his death row entourage, including Tupac Shakur, attacked Orlando Anderson, a Crips gang member. Knight was then sentenced to 9 years in prison on February 28th, 1997 for the probation violation, but was granted early release and was let out of FCI Sheridan on August 6, 2001. So this happened, that was about right, 6 months. And so he was free, but by this point, I think all of the big names had left the label.
Yeah, they're already, the majority of them were jumping ship. There was even a moment in time to where right before her death, Lisa Left Eye Lopez was going to be signed by Death Row as well. But the company was already looking as though that they weren't going to be as prominent as they were early on.
Yeah, I mean, people got to remember when they founded Death Row along with Dre, and I can't remember the other guy. It was early '91, I guess, and because they wanted to leave, was it Ruthless Records?
Yeah, that was what the whole thing tied to.
Jerry Heller.
Yeah, Jerry Heller, Easy and Jerry Heller.
So they came up with the Chronic. I can't remember the chronology, but the Chronic got like. I can't remember how, it was such a massive record. I never liked it, to be honest with you. It wasn't my style, but it was so massive. And then Snoop Dogg's record was just through the roof.
Yeah, once Chronic and Doggy Style came out, it just basically put their company on the map. It was one of those things that after NWA, put the West Coast on the map, that the whole country was opening up to that style of rap. Ice-T opened up those doors as well, help that go through. But those two first albums were they were landmarks in West Coast rap.
It was definitely a shot in the arm. But then when he got out this time and he's on Stern doing an interview, he was trying to restart the label, but at this point using other talent, so to speak, and not getting as much traction. I think by 2008 or 2009, he files for Chapter 11, and I think it was eaten up by an Ontario company. I can't remember. That's Ontario, Canada, guys, and his legal troubles they're all over the place here. Let me see if I got this right. Okay. Conviction, 2003 conviction. He went to prison again for violating parole when he struck a parking lot attendant. Death Row's income rapidly declined during his recurrent incarceration. Basically, he was hooked with the Bloods, and he was famous for threatening people all the time. He was a big player. And with regard to the Tupac Biggie thing, don't you think that's one of the stupidest things to imply that he arranged the killing of someone suggested that he's responsible for killing Tupac to get more money off of his corpse? Basically, I'm like, who the hell would sanction a hit on the other guy while you're in the car with them?
Well, that was actually a silly thought of
one of the cops
that would happen and why it would happen. But at the same time, there is some levity to the fact that not only Suge but also Diddy also had his they possibly some allegations of him getting Notorious B.I.G. killed because the library is worth more than what the artist is. There was talks at that time early on that Notorious Big was going to leave Bad Boy and start his own thing and bring everybody up. So Diddy would have it wouldn't have been it wouldn't have been something far-fetched to believe that could have happened. The same could be said about Suge. Pac was everywhere. Pac was all over the place. He was large. He had a large a library of music.
Oh,
Suge,
yeah.
a lot of albums and demos that were hardly ever released. So possibility is that as well. But yeah, for it to be done with them both at the car, I don't know. It's just that one's a little bit off.
Yeah, I'm not too with it on that one. So I think so he claimed, as I said, Chapter 11. Then he had all kinds of violations, but then he was shot 6 times in Vegas, I think. No, West Hollywood. In 2014, and he still survived. It's like the Don Corleone and getting those oranges. He said he wouldn't cooperate with law enforcement on the matter. Party attendee Jeezy said later on the Breakfast Club that he would have been shot had he not been pushed out of the way just prior to the shooting. So that's pretty goddamn bad. And then the voluntary manslaughter charge, which is what he ultimately went in on, was 2015, 2017. It's about killing Terry Carter, who was his buddy and the co-founder of Heavyweight Records. And then basically he rolled over the guy, essentially. And when the excuses he gave, like, I got a brain tumor, I got blood clots, I can't go to trial, all this stuff, it was all a crock of shit. And he's sentenced to, I think, 22 years for one charge and 6 years for the other. So he's going to be eligible for parole when he's like 69, but he's not getting out.
Yeah. And it's a legacy that just died with the founding fathers of Death Row, the Dr. Dre's, the Harry O's, the DOC, and Suge being coming in was basically the figurehead and the muscle behind it, but he just was, like they would say, doing too much, and it became very hostile at the record company and such. And where a lot of people just didn't want to do business with them anymore. Even the high stake record companies didn't want to have to do anything with them.
Well, that's it. I mean, like you get that reputation, and all of a sudden it's backed up by charges that stuck. Then there's not much you can do at so anymore. People just gonna not want to be involved in that, and that's essentially what happened to him. He backed himself out of the game by in maintaining his quote unquote street cred, but he was never a snitch. I gave him that. He never rolled over on anybody. And except the guy that he killed.
And funny is, but the person that actually now has control of the ownership is Snoop Dogg himself.
Yeah, amazing. He made it like a bank robber with that whole thing. Yeah, but and it's amazing how he's transitioned himself into like the hip hop Willie Nelson. With the weed connection and stuff. And he's almost like an elder statesman, but he's still got, he's got play. He's still relevant.
Yeah, he's
a mogul.
He's in everybody's household now. He's middle America now. And they love him.
Yeah, totally.
Tonight, Puffy. Listen, Puffy, P. Diddy, Snoop Dogg,
Dr. Dre,
all of these brothers dissed you.
Brothers, huh? They are?
Yeah, well, barely. I'm more a brother. They disrespected you.
Right.
When are we going to go get these guys, and how are we going to do it?
Wait a minute.
Let's get it. No, come on. When are we going to get them?
Well, basically, ever since they've been music witness protection program, I haven't seen any of them.
Right. Have you seen any of these guys who listen, Snoop Dogg you started him off.
Right.
You fronted the money for him.
Right.
You got him into the rap business.
Right.
Well, that is what record companies do, right?
Yeah. You signed him from the ghetto.
Right.
Nobody else wanted him.
Also, when he was getting ready to go to prison, I put up $4.5 million to make sure he didn't go to prison.
You put up $4.5 million so that
it's bail money, right?
And lawyer fees.
And lawyer fees.
Right.
That's a big nut. But then he must have realized, like that $4 million will, serve me in good stead when he releases another album, and I'll make money off this. And it's an investment, really.
Yeah, and of course, everything goes back into the company anyway. So.
Yeah, totally.
How did he pay you back?
By acting like a bitch.
He's a bitch.
Right.
And you're not afraid to say it.
That's real talk.
You're a real gangster. You actually did prison time. These other guys don't do prison time.
Well, when you really look at it, when Andre both went to jail, he never even went to county jail. He had a situation where he beat up a girl. They was tired of him beating up girls, so he both went to county jail. He broke down, folded up like a lawn chair. So we did a very special thing the lawyers did with the judge that allowed him to go to Pasadena County Jail. They had like a TV in the bed. He went there for a few hours and left, so he never went to prison.
You are saying on this show that Dr. Dre, so-called gangster rapper, only went to jail for beating a woman.
Only went to jail for beating. He didn't even go to jail because he couldn't go to county jail because...
You have color TV in county jail.
Yeah, he couldn't even go to county jail. The county jail is totally different. So they had a special program set up for him that he would come in like early in the morning, sits in his room with the TV. He wouldn't see no contact with no other inmates. Nobody could see him. And then he would leave and come back. And that
he got to leave jail.
He got to leave jail.
Never even went to jail.
When you were in jail,
what's that called? It's not even minimum security. What's it called? Like work release? I don't even know.
It's like you might as well have been locked up in your house.
I was going to say, country club.
Not even better than that. Dude.
Yeah, holy Christ.
Joe, did they let you leave?
You were on lockdown, I think.
Weren't you in lockdown?
It wasn't even jail. It was just a thing, a slap on the wrist.
Will you kill all these guys? Will you kill Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, and P. Diddy?
Well, you know, one of the things I would absolutely not do that, because one of the things you got to realize is this. It's more painful for these guys to be around and not be around. Because every day...
You can't say that.
I thought Susan Howard...
No, you can't say that, sir. This is not prison, my brother. By the way, assalamu alaikum.
Nice looking sister, too.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. I think you're talking to me.
No, anyway.
Yes.
Anyway, excuse the foul language. Anyway, before they get up and do anything they feel they have to do, start their day, they look down, they look around, and before they go from their corner, leave their house to the gas station, they got escorts. Police escort.
Really?
Right. Everything is just all hectic. So it's not really a life. They like doing time more than I was doing time.
Listen, now, let me ask you a question. You're the
Wait
head
a minute. First of all, I really need to know why he was in jail.
He was in jail because he...
No, he's here. He can tell us.
All right, go ahead.
That's not unlike Howard even now today, 22, 23 years later, cutting somebody off, answering for them, asking the question, answering it, not accepting the answer, you name it.
Don't you love how he blacks it up whenever there's, an African American in the room? He just has to he has to connect with the brothers.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, the ones that he can get some kind of play off of. But now here's the thing. Those guys absolutely once Suge was on the streets again had to definitely beef up their security, worrying about some kind of retribution, because he definitely would have been the kind of person to take care of business, but surreptitiously, not be the hand with the strings behind the strings, but to have accidents happen, that kind of thing.
Yeah, listen, he built that reputation, especially early on. If you've ever heard the story that he was the one that hung Vanilla Ice off the balcony to get the royalty monies from the real writer of Ice Ice Baby and all the stuff. So he built up that reputation quick.
And I guess it helps with negotiations. Like if you don't want to see the George Washington Bridge upside down from your window, you'll just sign here.
Let me just sum up, because there's a million questions we got for you. Right. You're the head of the record company. You're still a wealthy man, right?
I believe so.
Right. You're a millionaire.
Yeah, I can say that.
Right. And you come out of jail, and all of your major artists have defected. Do you call them right away and set up a meeting as soon as you get out of prison and say, listen, you bitches, you better come over to my posse or I kick your asses?
Could he sound whiter? He sounds like fucking Jimmy Olsen. Jesus Christ.
It's painful.
Yeah, it really is. Christ almighty.
Or something like that. Is that what you said?
No, what I did, I moved forward. I got Crooked Eye, I got TV, I got Eastwood, I got...
Sign new artists.
Sign new artists. See, one thing about rap is a young man's sport.
Yes.
That's what people don't understand.
Yes.
Once a guy get to being 30-some years old, married with kids, and he don't live in the ghetto, and he ain't surrounded, he ain't street no more, you can't understand it.
It's over.
It's over.
It's over.
So it's really for the young guys who's off the block, who's out the mud.
Right.
Once these guys get to be a certain age, it's really over anyway.
I see.
Half of these guys, I don't have anything about, against gay people or nothing. It's that I can respect the person who's gay who come out and say they's gay.
Okay, before we get into that, he's right, but it's not even about where the person is in their life. It's more like they get a shelf life. Like Run DMC had 3.5 big years and then kind of went to nothingness and sort of came back with Down with the King, but they had their run, but it really was kind of short for them. Yeah, and we always say that once the artist isn't hungry anymore, you then now have to change over to, are we going to be commercial? What are we going to be audience? Are we going to start targeting now for our music? Mm-hmm. And a lot don't even, especially in hip hop, these days they don't even write their own stuff anymore. They start ghostwriting. I was talking to a friend of mine about that. I said, I equate it to stand-up comedy. With stand-ups, when they're first coming out, they're sitting there, they're putting their own work in their materials. And when you get the level of like a Chris Rock or Kevin Hart, they have a think tank now. They don't even write their stuff anymore. Now, majority of people are doing it for them. Yeah, and I think personally, you can tell by the material. I mean, like they can, they cherry pick whatever they think works best, but they also go club to club, constantly doing the set before they record it, which is what Rock was. That was his standard thing: work it out, and then figure out what worked and what didn't. But ultimately, if he had written really good stuff that was personal, I think you could tell. As it is, he does a bit of that himself. I'm sure he does do some writing, but most of the time now, I'm sure he's big enough and lazy enough and pays well enough where he can afford to get those people, and they're more than willing to write him good stuff out of the garage. Yeah, it's that's why this day and age with hip hop and the rap game, it's just more. Everything's become more of a vibe, or it's more pop than anything. It's not, the long gone are the days of that hungry rapper getting it, because, nowadays everybody doesn't have to, strive to get it. YouTube and Spotify makes you a hit. Yep.
Right.
Then you got your choice. But a lot
of the rappers are gay and they don't admit it.
Yeah, 95% of them is closet cases.
Right.
Come on, 95%?
I wouldn't say 95% because I don't know all of them. I know I know the ones who's on our label was like that.
Isn't it true?
Name.
No, don't name names.
Puffy wasn't, but if you added him and all the people in question, it's a good percentage. Dre was the biggest high-profile one, and when I found out he was, I was actually quite shocked. Yeah, they had and Suge was one of the first ones early on that was really putting people out there that was opening the door of the dark side of the music industry. Mm-hmm.
Isn't it true? Isn't it true that when you got out of prison, you called for a meeting with some of these guys, with Dre, Snoop, and all these guys, and they said they'd show up to the meeting, and you sat there and waited for them, and they did not show up?
Not only did not show up, they disconnect their phones and they buried themselves for a while. Right. And then that's recently, Dre went to my PO and tried to get me violated. He snitched on me. I haven't even seen the guy since I've been home.
You're on probation.
I'm on parole, baby.
Parole. I don't know.
So anyway, he went to my PO.
How many record company executives you know are on parole? Most of them should be, but
thinking about it, he went to my PO and they made a special case in my parole conditions by saying that he basically put a restraining order against me.
Who did this?
Andre. And only people I know you put a restraining order against somebody that's a battered woman, like a wife, a baby mama. I didn't know a so-called gangster rapper would go put a restraining order against another man.
Right. It's very, because I know the way
Is that why you're saying he's gay?
I'm saying he's gay because there's a guy named Bruce and they've been sleeping together for years.
Oh.
And we had a meeting. We had this meeting in the red room, right?
When I heard that, I laughed hysterically the first time. Oh, please! And he would, whenever he had the chance, whenever the mic was on, he would constantly bring that up. I'm surprised it didn't come up when Ice Cube and NWA had their feud, when he split. I'm surprised he kept that quiet. Well, first, when Drake didn't come in as a gangster rapper, that didn't happen that way. For the first part, he came in and he was just a spinning records producer kind of guy with a world-class wrecking crew, had their thing, and then the whole NWA thing happened, and he basically was brought in as a producer and stuff. He didn't really have a falling out
with like Ice Cube and those guys like that. Everything was really more with Easy. So those guys didn't have any resentment towards each other to do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it just would have been a nuclear bomb, before even the Chronic gets released, and then all of a sudden, because I remember at the time, I got Kill It Will. The Ice Cube's first album was good, but Kill It Will came out, and that was just like a smart bomb, and I can't remember the chronology. The Niggas for Life came out in 92 or 91, late 91, I can't remember.
It was 91.
And then it was such a disappointment. And but before that, 100 Miles and Running, that EP, which was also a little disappointing. And I'm thinking, it shouldn't matter this much when you lose one guy, but then when you find out that this guy is the lyricist, he writes all the rhymes, and then it's night and day.
Yeah, and once he left, and No Vaseline came out, and he aired everything out. They all just had to sit back and bite their woof.
Not what you could do about that.
Right? And once we had these meetings, you had to put everything on the table. Everybody had some drinks, and wouldn't nobody lie. Because if anybody get caught lying, it was always a consequence.
Right.
So Tupac stood up and said, I'm tired of this, I'm tired of this. Dre, you's a faggot. Dre said, first of all,
right,
I'm not a faggot. He said, okay, well then you're a homosexual. He said, I'm not a homosexual. I'm bisexual.
These meetings are something
he
else.
said, you bisexual. He said, see, that's another thing I don't want to do. I don't want to be doing songs with a guy. Then Dre said, Pac, I thought you were smart. I'm a bisexual.
Oh my.
Well, let me just say.
What a meeting.
Let me say something.
There's a couple things getting clipped out there. That's why when I first heard this clip, and this is unedited. I mean, it's unedited from the original source material. But I'm like, what did he cut out? I mean, it wasn't it might have been profanity, but you could tell the edits because it's so jarring, right?
Yeah, he's dumping some stuff there because a lot of stuff could be liable. So
mentioning names.
Yeah. So he's dumping.
Yeah.
About this meeting because you're bringing us into the inner workings of a record company. A lot of people aren't used to this.
Really?
A lot of us live normal lives. By the way, Evil Dave is so nervous that he's quiet.
How are you today?
Dave Letterman. I don't know if you ever.
Can I say something, Mr. Knight, that I'm very pleased to meet you, and that I'm the head of the Ball State University chapter of the Bloods.
Really? Yeah. That's cool. Look at Dave Letterman.
May I call you Mr. Niggas?
Niggas?
Yeah.
Hey, well,
what about these white guys who say the word niggas?
Well, I'm going to break it down to you like this.
Please.
I don't have respect for African Americans. One, I'm not from Africa. I'm glad I'm not from Africa.
Right.
Africans don't like us.
Right.
And
absolutely.
Even Africans don't call themselves Africans. If they're from Kenya, they call themselves Kenya.
Right. There's no such thing as African.
My whole thing is I ain't want all the other things. I'm black, or if I'm gonna call myself a nigga, I'm gonna call myself a nigga.
Right.
And if certain people say nigga, we might just have to have a little conference.
Uh-oh.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you, when Evil Dave was on, who the hell was writing for him? Was that all him? Because there's no way. I just don't see Fred being that smart to come up with in this particular episode all the stuff about the stuff he's coming up with for hip hop terms.
So early on, it would be Benji. Benji would be doing the writing, and then after a while, it became. I remember them mentioning Sal and Richard would write for him.
That makes sense. Sal definitely would know a lot of these terms, having been, what was it? The Cool the Candy rapper.
Cool and.
Oh man, that rap battle was still.
We should have messed this episode with that.
Totally.
You're a white guy. You can't say. Were you saying nigger or niggas?
Niggas. Yeah.
You better not say anything.
All right.
Dave,
I'm under contract.
That's right.
Do you have anything nice you want to say to Mr. Knight?
No, I don't know. I'm just wearing my, whatever. I'm very saddened by the death of Tattoo.
What?
Tattoo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just wanted you to know I was very saddened by that. He certainly was a fine rapper. Oh, that child song brought shivers to my body and made me cry.
Tattoo recently died?
Yeah.
Who is Tattoo?
I don't know what he's talking about.
You know what he's talking about?
I'm no tattoos. You guys stands up or what?
I don't know.
Fantasy Island.
All right. Anyway, so I think Dave's going to have another heart attack.
I know. I think he's about to pass out.
All right. So when you talk about these private meetings between you and Dre and all the Tupac,
whoever,
calling each other, doesn't mean necessarily. We have to.
Could be the dozens.
It could be the dozens. You don't know that really Dre's doing that stuff. They're just ragging on each other.
No, we don't do that. One thing about Death Row. When we say something, we say, we mean what we say what we mean. So we have a conversation, our meeting is what you put everything on the table. That what made our music different.
Right.
Because it had to be a situation where you got to believe in what you're doing and you got to be about what you're doing.
Right. So you went to jail because you supposedly beat up a bunch of people.
Yeah, I went to prison.
Yeah, prison. Yeah. Because you supposedly beat up a bunch of people.
Right.
There were other record company people and recording stars, right?
Well, they
Is that wrong?
Now, here's the thing. I was actually amazed that Howard would have him on. Now, I understand he's had Henry Hill on many times. And Henry Hill, of course, is, well, you know, he's copped a plea. We don't know exactly what he would have been busted for aside from drug possession, drug distribution and stuff. But that's, to me, dealing drugs, as bad as it, you know, can be, depending on the type of drug, is not the same as physical violence or murder, you know, on a you know, the judicial scale, to me personally. A felon's a felon, but there are different levels. And so for Howard to have Suge Knight in, who's not just a black guy, but he's, you know, propensity for violence when it suits his purposes. Aren't you a little amazed that they had him in?
Well, he had a stretch where he would have these talents that weren't usually his forte of interviews. Remember, he had a stretch where he had the WWE wrestlers come in, the Vince McMahon, Stephanie, Goldust, and all that stuff. And then at that same stretch, he had the rappers. He had 50 Cent come in. He had Jay-Z come in. So he even made a comment to Ronnie one time. He tells him, he says, "Yeah, you get the security guard. Make sure you pat down everybody." Not only the black rappers who come in, but like make sure you pat everyone down so everything looks kosher. But yeah, he had a run to where I guess he was, and it was still at that time when the E Show was up and running, and he still wanted to get that another kind of demo going. I would say.
Well, there's also some of these might have been dictated by K-Rock and not by him. I'm sure he could put the kibosh on certain interviews, but also maybe he thought, well, what's he going to do? Like if I can have Mr. T in, I'll have, you know, you could have a certain bunch of guests. If they're willing to come in, then that means they know what the show's about, or they should know, and it won't ever get to the point where, you know, something bad will happen necessarily. Like he can rein himself in.
Also, yeah, it's a good point as well, because his show was syndicated, and it wasn't only syndicated to like his regular rock stations. I remember he would run ads and bumpers from other radio stations, and some of them were in urban outlets. So you'll hear a rapper be like, "Yo, you listen to the Howard Stern over here."
Yeah. Station IDs, yeah.
It's fucking hilarious. It'd be like Busta Rhymes, like, yo, it's Busta Rhymes here. Oh, you listen to Howard, he's crazy. It's like,
well,
really?
I mean, look, was it not 1010 Wins obviously was gonna do, as news was always gonna outrank shows like his, but Hot 97? That was the big competitor.
Yeah, Hot 97. Yeah, that was Lisa G, Ed Lover, and Dr. Dre. He couldn't believe that they were drawing more numbers than him at that time. He couldn't fathom that would be true.
No way. His wig came off.
That and the Spanish station in New York when they came to La Mega, El Vacilón de la Mañana. Oh, please.
Well, what's the Latino population in New York? Just the New York area, approximately.
We probably outrank everybody 8 to 10. No, we're large. In our 5 boroughs, especially the Bronx and Brooklyn, we're a very large demo. Like it always astounded him that it couldn't be possible. It's like I just recently heard an old episode where he's discussing that he couldn't believe that as soon as he touched down in Florida, that the Spanish station took over. And it's like, Yeah, because the same people, like Florida is like it's like the 7th borough of New York. Like it's the same shit. So
it's little Havana.
Yeah, exactly. So he couldn't believe that. But yeah, it's he could lose a market or two just from that demo alone.
I'd say so.
To do? I mean, a lot of these guys don't listen, do they?
Yeah, I didn't understand the whole situation. The thing is, once again, it started at the studio, and it was over. Some guys came in, 2 guys came in,
right?
And they had both of Andre done the song "Boys in the Hood."
Right.
They didn't want the song from Boys in the Hood because they said it was too West Coast, so he gave it to Easy.
Right.
Now the song blew up. Now it was years later. These guys felt that he owed them a song,
right?
So they show up to the studio. They pimp slap one of my producers, which is Andre.
They bitch slapped him.
They bitch slapped him.
They bitch slapped one of your producers.
Take one of the songs. Then they said they was going to use the phone. They was going to do what they want to do, how they want to do it.
So you had to step in.
The guys called me.
He disrespected you.
I show up. It's a guy and his brother. One of the guys weighed about 330. The other guy about 6'5", 6'6".
Yeah.
So it got to a situation that it was the battle of the beast. So obviously I got the better hand of them, and they told on me.
They called the cops.
They left.
Anybody try to mess with you in prison?
No, nobody ever tried to mess with me.
Now, people also got to remember, Suge, as big as he appears, actually he was a bit of a ball player back in the day, and probably would have, if he kept himself in actual good shape, might have ended up being a defensive, like a linebacker or something. He certainly had the size for it.
Yeah, he was highly scouted for college and everything. Yeah, he actually had a great athletic career early on.
Yeah.
You have protection in prison?
I got myself,
Did you get into any fights?
Well, some things you don't tell about, but
you kick some ass?
I always want to do a little of that.
Really?
But wait a minute, let me ask something.
Nice.
You said earlier that he was this was a violation of probation.
Yes.
When he got into this fight. So why was he on probation?
A slight altercation before that.
Yeah.
A slight altercation.
Man has to fight.
Yeah, when I was young, my fists used to always have their way of trying to express themselves. But now I'm more civilized, so that I can,
You're now going to control. Just get other people to beat people up for you. Don't do it yourself.
Please,
really.
Please.
Don't you gotta realize one thing. In the 80s, in all the 80s are,
it was a different time.
It was a different time.
How great was it when you hung Vanilla Ice out the window by his ankle?
Was that
must have been fun. Come on, man. Share that experience with me. Was it great?
I would have loved if he had dropped him. That was never a more cringeworthy time for hip hop. Even Hammer. I know when Hammer broke big, because I remember he did that Back on the Block with Quincy Jones, and then he did that first album. But Hammer was pop. That was just pop. Rap. That wasn't anything. He never tried to be anything he wasn't. But Vanilla Ice was so clearly designed for white America, the white suburban kids, and it was so awful.
Yeah, this day and age, the kids will call it an industry plant that they use. They're actually labeling some artists that are out now, such as Ice Spice. They call them an industry plant because it's all of a sudden they just blow up out of nowhere, and you're like, who's listening to their music? Who really cares? I remember, what was it? I believe it was in the Soul Train Awards that Ice Baby was nominated, and the crowd gave such a thunderous roar of boos. And they were like, don't worry about it. He's not going to win.
Oh God, we said when the video for Rollin' in My 5.0 came out, we just started laughing. We said, this is now MTV's a comedy. Well, Much Music. It's a comedy channel now. This is beyond cringe.
I do watch-alongs with a friend of mine that I grew up with many years ago, and he lives in Florida now. So we'll try to catch up at least once a month and do a watch-along of movies that we grew up with and we'll laugh. One of them on the list has to be Ice, the Vanilla Ice movie, Cool as Ice.
Cool as Ice.
I mean, the comedy that ensues just with that movie alone, it's going to be ridiculous.
What was the one Run DMC did?
Tougher Than
Leather, wasn't it?
And then the only reason why I know that is because before bootleg movies were bootleg, that was probably one of the first movies I've ever seen on bootleg that was in the theaters, and I got the tape of it. That and House Party were the first. It was like the first creation of bootleg movies.
Well, I remember didn't Run DMC also release the soundtrack of the movie, but it was their album. It was just a full-fledged album.
Yeah, remember the first movie they did was Crush Groove.
Yeah,
and they made their own Tougher Than Leather, and it was I don't even think you can find it. I think it's buried where the Atari games are at. You can't
Hold on. Let's see if I can find it. Let's go to for you. Let me see HD. Let me see TV. I'll see if this is correct. There's a website which I don't even know if I'll be able to get onto. Okay, here it is. Okay, let's go. Tougher than leather.
If it comes up,
you'd be surprised what this website comes up with. Like, let's see.
Everybody watch a porn might come up.
Well, I did a search. Hold on, trust this site. Okay, there we go. There it is.
Oh my God, no, it's not gonna. It won't play. It can't play.
Oh yes. Let's just see here.
No.
This is a site I use when I don't want to actually download anything. I just want to play just for shits and giggles. I'll put the link in the Patreon for you guys who want this.
Oh my!
I just scroll ahead. It might actually not. Hold on.
It's probably embarrassed. It doesn't even want. It doesn't even want to. Oh, there it goes. Yep.
Okay.
Oh wow! This is wow. The 80s is just overflowing right now with me.
This site I use because also I didn't want to necessarily have a whole bunch of crap on my hard drives like TV shows, which take up a lot of space. So I was looking for, let's say, Kojak, or Beretta. I wanted to see if I could find them, and sure enough, they rendered whatever DVDs they could. Look at this.
Don't sleep with something, man. Don't late again, man. Nah, Jay had a fight outside, man. It was an accident.
Nah, I ain't had no accident. That kid outside, he had an accident. Right? He was popping that week.
Nah, he just asked you about your hat.
That's the way he asked me.
True.
So like.
Oh, I can't.
And that's Russell Simmons. That is Russell Simmons right there. Oh my goodness! Listen,
that's brutal.
Send me the link after this.
That link, again, like I said, guys, this will go on the Patreon, and you'll be able to access the link for yourself. It's good. There's loads of pop-ups, and it says, threatening websites, all horseshit. There used to be a way to download films off of it too, and I did that a couple times for really obscure stuff. And they come out with streaming the latest stuff as well, but like screeners and really bad quality stuff. But if you wait long enough, almost everything will go up there, and it plays normally pretty good, pretty well. But that, I remember at the time, it was sort of like when it came out, I go, no, they can't be doing this. They shouldn't do this.
Oh, they were running really high. It was on that whole mix when a lot of hip hop theme movies were coming out. It's like between 85 and like 88. It was that Breaking 2, House Party, all that stuff. And Run DMC, I think, like I said, it was this, like you mentioned, it was their soundtrack, and it was an album as well. It was hilarious.
Oh, fucking hell. Now I might have to rewatch it over the weekend.
That guy was whining like a bitch, right? How much fun was that? Describe to me what happened. You just knock on the door and you hung him out the window, or you let him cry for a little bit?
Had you been watching that movie with Lee Marvin? What
inspired you? That's brilliant. How did you do that?
I bleed the field.
Why didn't you let go of his ankle and let him drop off the balcony?
Actually, who is Vanilla Ice?
The white rapper.
Oh, that guy. That Eminem, right?
No.
Okay.
All right, let me ask you something. So, can you get high in prison? Can you get any kind of drugs you want?
I smoked cigars when I was in prison. I had a ball in prison.
You had a ball in prison?
Great time in prison.
Prison was fun, right?
Prison was a lot of fun.
I've never heard anybody.
I'll tell you what. If you're a brother who can protect himself, like someone like me, I would be raped, right?
He'd love it.
There's no way I can't believe that he was in GP. There's no way he was in general population. No way. Yeah, I couldn't fathom that would be true.
Well, I mean, I suppose it would depend on the severity of the crime. I mean, like, what where was he transferred to at that point? We said in the intro. I can't remember now.
Yeah, I forgot where it was, but I can't believe that he was out there with the real hardened ones. They had to have him in protective custody. No way. No.
Okay, let's go to this one. He was FCI Sheridan. Let's see what this says. It's a medium security United States federal prisoner for male federal prison for male inmates. It also holds a detention center housing male offenders and an adjacent minimum security satellite prison camp also for male offenders. Like I said, if it's minimum security, you're not getting like rapists and serial killers in there.
Is he playing tennis? And
that'd be funny. Suge Knight at the U.S. Open.
Yeah, Suge Knight playing pickleball.
Yeah. Oh man, that's a Photoshop.
If Howard, if you wouldn't keep it gangster, you'd probably be doing laundry and doing
laundry.
Laundry.
Look at those hands; they can't do laundry.
See, Howard,
his hands have never done a day's hard work.
Howard, I know you keep it gangster.
Yeah.
But a lot of those guys, if they was gonna go to prison, especially some of these rap guys, they probably get into braiding hair and stuff.
Right. They'd probably be doing guys' laundry and shoes and stuff like that. Did you have your own prison bitches that would like weak
do your laundry?
Guys, weak guys who would do your laundry and do whatever your manicure or whatever you needed?
Well, I didn't get no manicures and pedicures. I made sure I got my drawers and socks washed and my t-shirts clean.
And what is it, like the weakest guys have to do that stuff?
Right. Whoever's gonna be in the cell with me had to do laundry.
Really? So prison ain't so bad because you have all your laundry done, as you say. You have all your amenities. Who was the guy who did your laundry? Was it a white guy or a black guy?
Whoever did the best. Prison is more of
a Chinese guy?
It's laundry.
How does prison work? In other words, you get there and then you size up everyone.
No, you don't do it like that. I mean, fortunately for me, when I took recruiting trip to go to college, all schools I visit, I've never seen anybody from my neighborhood. I've never seen any of my homeboys. I might see one person that know you that you don't know in college.
Right.
Any prison I go to, I'm gonna see a whole ton of my homeboys because
it's college.
It's a reunion.
Yeah, exactly. But
that's your college.
Actually, it was really a privilege to me to see some of my homies that got life that would never ever see the streets again. I was able to spend some time when we was able to hang out, talk a little bit.
Did you discover any?
And like you said, if it's maximum security, if he's ever in actually general population and it's maximum security, which it wasn't, you're not going to have that much free time with them anyway.
Not free time. He immediately gets yellow gowned or white jumpsuited, and they put him right in protective custody. That's not gonna happen. He's not gonna be in there.
Yeah.
Talent in the prison? Any future rap stars?
Actually, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't even try to listen to no rappers and those.
Was everyone trying to audition for you in prison?
Definitely not. I was told you see one thing about prison, you in the mode that was going on. Once you're in the yard, the outside world don't mean anything to you.
Right.
You're dealing with your world is inside.
Right.
That's how you do your time.
If you start fantasizing about the outside world, it'll kill you.
Yeah, you be stressing all the time.
Right. So when you get to prison, you have to set yourself up. They assign you a cellmate. Is that correct? Did you have someone in your cell?
You have to go through like the strip search and everything first, though, right?
Yeah. Every time you go to a visit, every time you move, you finna strip down. So
they check your balls. Butt. Really, you have to show your balls and check your butt.
All that, but I'll be honest with you. If anybody lying to you, say that don't happen, they lying. But my whole thing was I ain't finna been over and spread no cheeks, but I just go on and squat and let them know I don't got no drugs up in my butt.
Right.
Because my thing is a little too soft for that. Like I tell them, when I used to go and come back from visits, I said, well, I want a keister. I damn sure can't fit. It would have to be a woman or something.
Dave, pull your pants back up.
That would be for Howard. And it's funny. He likes to focus on, like, do they check out your balls and do they open your asshole? Like, Jesus, dude, you sound like you'd like to visit and try this out yourself.
Immediately, the first thing that he ran to was, did they check out your butt? Like,
yeah, totally. Like him and Ralph doing some cosplay, like lockup or something, like Howard's gonna be the kid that gets killed by Sonny Landham on the wait on the bench. He
reminds me of the kid from Bad Boys with Sean Penn that jumped up on the table during the lunch scene.
That's an underrated film. Wasn't that what was it? 86? That film?
Oh, probably earlier than that.
Earlier than that, I'm thinking at close range was I think 85, if I'm not mistaken, 85, 86.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was wild too. But Bad Boys, 83 then?
It's probably around that time.
Okay, so it was earlier. Yeah, I'm getting my dates mixed up. It wasn't Shanghai Surprise. I know that. Fuck. Now we're going into bad movie territory, guys. Maybe we'll do one show where we just fucking name all the shittiest films we've ever seen and play clips from them.
Yeah,
look at him.
I just want to let him know.
Dave Letterman.
I just want to let Mr. Knight know that, people don't know my steez. I'd be up 125 with P. Diddley or P. Daddy or working the block like Magic Don Juan Iceberg Slim's full wheel, baby.
Dave, go shave your head. Leave me alone. Wait a second. So, Mr. Knight, you when you were in prison, you get there, you set up your cell, you check out who else is there. Some of your brothers from the hood. Then what do they got? Like these white power guys, the racist white guys who all...
Anything you could think of is going on in prison.
Okay.
But one of the things I didn't do when I was in prison the whole time, I cooked in my cell. I never went to shower. I cooked.
You cooked your own meals?
I probably ate the same thing every day. Top rolling, soup, maybe some rice, can of tuna, can of oysters.
How big was this cell? You had a pantry in it?
The cell is so small, the bunkers, you probably can't see. The bunkers probably,
What do you mean you didn't eat showers? Why wouldn't you eat in the dining room?
Well, you got to realize what it's saying. The prisoners who doing the time is cooking the food.
Right.
A lot of those guys are a little bit mad at the world. They ain't never going home, so it might be a little this in the food, a little that in the food.
Well, would you have a hot plate?
No, what you do, you make a stinger. I used to make a stinger, and you can boil the water, or sometimes you can get a hot pot, and you can rig it to get extra hot. And you take your top ramen, and you break that soup up, and you throw a tuna in there. And
they'd let you do that?
No, they sell at the canteen.
At the canteen?
Yeah.
No kidding. And so you had enough money where you could actually cook your own meal.
One thing about prison, you only can spend $140 a month.
And somehow you were able to get the food at $140 a month and eat all your own meals in your cell.
Well, somebody's gonna go without eating a little bit.
Well, wait a minute.
Did you drop a lot of weight?
Kind of a business?
Yeah, I did. I mean, one of the things about prison, I was able to get my condition in my mind, condition in my body, and I got a lot of rest. It was, before I went to prison, even though I was working very hard, but I also partied very hard.
Now, the thing is, the idea that you got you're able to get a hot plate or something in your cell, again, what you're talking, if he's, minimum security, maybe, I guess that makes a little sense, but actual, a real prison, you're not going to be allowed to get that. What's to stop you from setting the, blanket on fire or something, starting some shit?
Necessity is the mother of invention, excuse me. Yeah, because
you got it.
They come up with whatever they need to come up, but this is what I'm saying. For him not to go to chow with everybody, that's not a common thing. That's not what they want you to do, because usually at that time they want to make sure that the cells are cleared and all that stuff. So they want prisoners to move out to go to other places. So for him to not be able to move and do things in house and stay in the cell, that's what I say. I can't see him to be having been in Gen Pop like that.
Yeah.
This also reminded me. I'm thinking about now movies that were you talk about bad movies, but I'm thinking about Suge Knight, but I'm also thinking about this movie with Tom Selleck called An Innocent Man, and I could see in that movie. It's I don't know why that just popped in my head.
God, I'm gonna have to write down the list of all the bad prison movies. There's loads of them. There's more shitty ones than good ones. That's the truth.
F. Murray Abraham was great in that.
He's an underrated actor. I know he won an Oscar for Amadeus, but it didn't make him into Tom Hanks because he looked like a pork roast with legs. But he was a great actor. I mean, people remember him as what's his name? Oscar, whatever. What's his name? Suarez in Scarface. But then he also played. God, he was in so many things. Surviving the Game with Rutger Hauer and Rock Dutton and Ice-T.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, he was in so many films. Anyway, we'll keep going, guys.
Wait a second.
He said it was like going away to like a health spa.
Yeah, right. Now, when you get in your cell, whoever's assigned to your cell immediately begins doing your laundry, or do you have to beat them up or something to get them to do it?
Well, I look at it like this, you know,
you have to intimidate them.
I think it's a situation that they feel that, you know, somebody got to do some cleaning around there.
Right.
Don't
Now,
get
are
me
you
wrong.
associated?
I would clean. I would clean myself because who wants to stay in some filth? It's already small. It's already too small for one person, let alone two people. So the most important thing you got to do about your cell, the first thing you got to do is make sure it's clean.
Yeah, but are you associated with a gang?
Are you under the protection of a gang?
I need no protection for nobody.
But are you associated?
Are you associated?
Well, you know, I got love for my homies. I ride with my homies.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, that's a yes.
Other than that, you know,
in jail, you got to hook up with some kind of.
It's a difference. You don't wait till you go to prison and to be and be involved with your homies. Just like some people go to prison and they turn Muslim or they turn Christians and they turn different things. And some people go to prison, they get up on a certain type of constitution. My whole thing is, I'm from my neighborhood. I stay from my neighborhood. Only person, see, one thing that people get the wrong idea about gangs and gangbangers. See, this is different. You know, you get your neighborhood's where you grew up at.
Right.
So you respect your neighborhood. You love your neighborhood. So you're gonna represent your neighborhood.
Right.
It's only one, and the reason why people are part of those activities in the ghetto because they live in the ghetto.
It's like inner city Boy Scouts.
Right, but there's only one person that's right there like that.
Yeah.
There's only one person ever in the whole United States, especially L.A., that some people used to get jumped into the gang, some people used to be a part of the gang, some people was born into the gang, so their family was a part of the gang.
Right.
There's only one person that paid money to be involved in the gang, and that was Snoop.
Now, he says that. I have no idea one way or the other, but I know he's not from L.A. I remember that much.
I read his book. I read Snoop's autobiography years ago, and he talked about it. But at the same time, he has family everywhere. Like, he's related. You find out who he's related to. It's like, wow, this dude's been connected, and his tree branches go everywhere. But in the book, he talked about that when he moved to Cali, that his family was already there, and a lot of them were already gang affiliated. So they were already he was already pretty much around it. So he never got jumped in or any of that stuff either. It was just by association.
Well, okay, so he could, that way you reap the benefits of, I guess, association, but there's a lot of negatives that come along with that, of course. And I mean, a lot of people argue Tupac really he was stupid enough to associate. He threw himself in and should have just kept to just fucking rapping and just leave it alone. I mean, the smart guys just stay right away with it, or get out of it, or stay away from it as much as you can.
Well, the other thing with Snoop was he was probably one of the forefathers of rappers who actually threw their flag up, showing what gang they were with. It was, they always talked about it little by little, but he would always talk about he's crippin' and stuff like that. And it wasn't until then that it became, like, I guess, acceptable to actually represent your set, as they would say.
Yeah.
Snoop paid to be in the gang.
You saying Snoop Dogg paid to get into the gang?
Yeah, he paid to be in the gang.
Wow.
He's still not in the gang.
I've had Snoop on the show. He seems like a very nice guy. I've never met Dr. Dre.
You know one thing? I'm going to tell you something. I don't have
He's a talented guy.
Snoop is a very, very nice kid.
Right.
If you talk to his mama, or if you talk to anybody know, when I met Snoop, the guy he used to wear a backpack on his back.
Really?
And his stage name was Snooper Duper.
Right.
Which he was dressed like the 5 Heartbeats. If you remember the first videos we done, like Deep Cover or G Thing, he had the special ed haircut.
Yes.
Which this guy was a really, really nice kid.
Right. So you reinvented him.
So we gave him an image, sure enough.
Yes.
And at one time, Snoop wanted to be a dime move.
Hold on, you're shaking your head.
Because this is Suge, very, he has the same, I guess, narcissistic personality. He has a lot of them and is very braggadocious. And Suge, he makes it seem like he had the wherewithal to make Snoop this large being, and it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that at all. Snoop came in, and this was already Dre's plan early on when he met Snoop, that he already had him said like that was like his first artist, like one of the first artists after NWA. So
okay,
this wasn't a Suge thing, but of course Suge is gonna take, he's gonna
ownership
of it, yeah.
Well, okay, so he's the Svengali, so he's gonna put the thing together like he's I don't know some muckety muck like Clive Davis or somebody.
Right, just like Elaine would say from Seinfeld, he's a Svengali.
That's great.
Better yet, a power rule. A lot of people who really been around knew this. See, Snoop was in a situation where he was, if you look back in the early days, he was wearing the red shirts and the burgundy shirts. One time on the Soul Train Award, he had the whole red flag on, Aunt Your Mama style. But one of the things, business is more important than anything. And I learned in this business, that's from Quick the Homeboy and all, but Quick started off as banging on his records. And then when somebody asked him what do TTP stand for, according to his interviews, he told him Total Track Production, even though it stands for Treetop Power Rule, and that really hurt his career. So I talked to Snoop. I said, listen, you can't go around being something that you totally different from the neighborhood you from.
Right.
You from Long Beach, right? He said, yeah. I said, what do they have in Long Beach? I said, well, they got 20s, they got Insane, they got 19th Streets. They don't have no blood, so you can't be a blood. Right. So therefore, pick one. I didn't know he was going to pick all three. He went from Insane to 19th Street back to 20. Snoop is really nice kid.
Right.
The guy you got.
You're saying that it was a lot to do with him developing this gangster image.
Well, one thing about it, look at the record company. If Snoop would have been on another record company, he probably would have been doing a different style of music.
What is it? He's going to be like Keith Sweat? Come on.
He's gonna be Young MC. That's what he was do. He's coming out the MC hat.
Well, I mean, like Snoop has his unique delivery even to this day. I mean, there's no mistaking him when you hear his voice. And a lot of hip hop artists, it was like that. If you've seen that documentary, Something from Nothing, Big Daddy Kane had that great line about, if you get a producer, you got to be original. If you get a producer and, you sell $1 million, what you just did, you made the producer a star. Right. When you adopt a trend or you do something. So you have to have something that's yours that no one else can do, so that they go, well, if we need that sound, we need to get that person. The production team's not going to help us if it doesn't sound like this guy. And Snoop definitely has a unique voice. Whether or not he's all in on his own lyrics or whatever in production, I have no idea. But it's not like he was going to be a crooner, for fuck's sake.
I've said it for many years, and people always told me, "Oh, please shut up." And I said, it's true. I said, anytime he wants to, Snoop can make a hit, regardless of what era he's going to be in. One way alone, because like you said, people recognize the voice, they know who he is, and now he's, like we mentioned, he's so beloved, it's ridiculous. He can make a track with anything right now. But yeah, it's one of those things for him that he's different.
And recently he did a duet with someone, I can't remember who's new, like younger and bigger, like wet, like massive. And I thought it didn't sound bad at all. I can't remember what it was. I'll have to look at that. Hold on, let me look that up. Guys, couldn't figure out the track, but as soon as I do, I'll put it, if I don't put it before the end of the recording, I'll put it in the listing as a what do you call it, a PS in the Patreon.
Probably ballads or something.
Yeah, but gangster rap is something totally different. A lot of things, it's not about trying to put any of the rappers down, or try to put anybody down, but the ball, strike a strike.
All right, so now you're out of prison, you're starting up a record company again. It's not called Death Row anymore.
It's called a Row.
It's just called Row. And now you're back, and you're going to try to do business a different way, right? You're going to just go ahead and put out the music.
You can't beat up people when you have a disagreement.
You can't beat up people anymore, right?
That's not business.
Or can you?
That's not the way you do business.
All right, there you go. You say you're rehabilitated.
I'm a changed man.
Right.
He sounds as convincing as already when he said, "Do you think you could do this PSA for a life beat?"
He's gonna be doing. So Suge is gonna do what Suge wants.
How about he was with Tupac when he was shot, right?
Yeah, Tupac was your man, right?
Definitely, that's my boy.
Who killed this guy?
Who knows?
You're not gonna.
Never gonna tell, huh?
Well, one of the things everybody gotta understand. I am off the block. I do see. our world is totally different than somebody else's world.
The white man's world.
You gotta look at it.
Yeah.
You got white world, you got the ghetto, right?
Right, exactly.
So you got the ghetto, you got the suburbs.
Mm-hmm.
So if you see a guy breaking somebody's car, snatch his radio out the car, in the suburbs, when the police show up, somebody gonna go and say, look, I seen that guy right over there, Larry, in the green shirt, who broke the window and took the radio out the car and went and put it in his car.
Right.
And I'm an eyewitness. And people call him an eyewitness.
Right.
In the ghetto, if somebody sees somebody break somebody's window, take their radio out their car, and the police show up and they say, I seen Larry do it. We don't call that an eyewitness. We call that a snitch.
Right.
A rat.
Yes.
A bitch.
Yes.
That's what we call it.
Well, now I get it. Dave, do you understand?
I just want to make Mr. Knight aware that, I've donated a considerable amount to the United Negro College Fund. And on behalf of...
I gotta love Evil Dave. You know what? To this day, that might be the single best impression I've ever heard of someone mimicking a guy's voice so perfectly. Because no one else did a Dave Letterman impression that I can remember that was any good.
But the only two that I remember that would try would have been a Joe Piscopo and excuse me, and Norm. Norm would do it. But my whole thing is that really an impression, or wasn't that like his voice for real? Like it was pretty damn close to his real voice.
Well, I mean, it was his real voice, but I mean, like he had to get the cadence down, he had to get the delivery, he has to get the tone right perfectly, and it's just like, imagine spending the rest of your life sounding like David Letterman, but you're not him.
The funniest thing is when they pulled a prank on him, Benji and Richard. They pulled a prank on him saying that Howard's going to be mad because he did a PCA for someone. And he goes, "Oh, you're gonna have to apologize to Howard for that." And you hear his real voice, and it's like he wasn't that bright. Like he wasn't really a bright dude, but it was hilarious. And he figures it out, and then he goes, "Oh, you guys are messing with me, huh?" It's hilarious.
Well, and Letterman, the real Letterman, was furious because they had him call a gay bathhouse, and people thought it was him because they were so convinced. And so he's like, when he came in, I think for Howard's 50th, and he talked to him, he would have been in, but Dave didn't want him in the studio. He just didn't want anything. He thought it was too creepy, and he probably, like I said, pissed off at that stuff.
The funny thing with that is, like, every time Vinny was in the studio, he was in the or he was on the phone, he went, "That's not really Dave. No, that's not him."
Yeah. I mean, Dave could lose all kinds of money with that. So if the wrong person hears that the Evil Dave stuff and doesn't know any better.
It was that, and whenever Al Michaels was there with Billy, and you didn't.
Christ.
Ooh, it was scary. It was like, geez.
Yeah.
Your people, I voted for David Dickens. And I'm not even a resident of New York.
Okay, what you want to do is this, like with me, true enough, everybody's our people, but all the ghetto is my people.
I think David Letterman here, in all fairness, but David Letterman is trying to bond with you. So go ahead, try and bond.
I'm going to try to bond with him too.
Yeah,
in the ghetto,
he's trying to say something. Go ahead.
In the ghetto, I'm cutting him off at this point.
Go ahead.
In the ghetto, you got Mexicans, you got blacks.
Right.
Out here, you got Puerto Ricans. You got over, right?
Is he inappropriate?
But the whole thing about it is this: if you want to do something for the ghetto, go out there and personally give the money to the kids. Let the kids grow.
Dave, do you understand the difference?
Let's don't write a check.
United Negro College Fund is not going to help anybody. You got to give a check to the people.
No, go to the ghetto.
Go to the ghetto.
Yeah, go to the ghetto.
Yeah.
And I just want to say that he, to Mr. Knight, he certainly has a lovely shade of skin. Absolutely no ash at all.
Wow. Well, that's a compliment. I think that should be taken as a compliment.
Yeah, I'm going to take that.
Yeah, right.
Thank you very much.
You really know how to talk ghettoese.
Oh, yeah. Well,
seems to know a lot about black.
Yeah, you seem to know a lot about black people.
Are you kidding me? I can roll hard anywhere. Catch me at Cali, at Roscoe's with Suge Knight.
Oh, God. I mean, like, that's really what I thought it was pronounced when I first saw it in print. I had no idea.
Oh man, and it just goes to show that he doesn't pay attention. And we probably heard his name numerous times during his interviews. Yeah, with Suge.
Yeah, Suge.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
You know what?
I think New Orleans is a nigger Master P. That's my dog. That's my dog.
Hey, so you and Master People up here talking ebonics, huh? So now all of a sudden you know what's going on. Hey,
he just watches I kick the game to Robin.
Hey, did he make you say, when he was hitting that or what?
You know, you're quite, he is quite, let me hear you talk to Suge Knight in a rap style. Maybe something here. Yeah.
I'll give you an example. All right, this is to Robin. All right, Robin, you ready? Here we go. All right. What's up, Busy? Can I holler at you? Damn, baby, I'll hold it down for you. The block says you got the good power you.
Oh wow! Look at this guy.
You know what?
Right, right.
Completely written down. Completely.
Oh my God, that. What year was this?
2002.
I think those lines weren't even done at that time. I think that was already 10 years outdated.
I think so. Yeah. Christ.
I don't even understand.
What do you think of Eminem? Is that what do you think of white rap?
Well, you know, I don't see one thing about something. The ghetto is colorblind on a sense. If you really from the ghetto and you really doing those things you rapping about, you talking about, I can respect that.
Right.
But if somebody else writing your rhymes, somebody else is you telling somebody else's story, that really don't mean nothing to me.
Do you know who the white man is that really grew up in the ghetto? Howard Stern.
I believe that.
And he has no rhymes.
I cannot rhyme though. That is the problem.
And if you've heard the breakdowns, guys can't rhyme, can't sing, can't play, can't tune his guitars. Apparently, he needs guests, Josh Brolin, to tune his fucking guitars for him. What a useless piece of shit.
Can't paint, can't sketch, can't
take pictures, can't Photoshop, can't grill,
can't roller skate, can't run,
can't wear clothes that fit him. Christ.
Everybody in the ghetto is not a rapper. You got a lot of entrepreneurs in the ghetto.
That was me.
You got some people, you know, I never rapped. I never sung. I never did.
We won't be seeing you making an album, huh?
No, you know, like.
But you understand the community and the talent in the community.
You know, even back in the day when people just say certain things, like if they was talking to your man Dave over there, they probably would say he got a dizzick in his miz off and he,
Master
you know,
David.
That's what they probably
Master David.
I'm the one, the black boys. Call Master D. There you go. I just like to say to Mr. Knight, I was one of the first white viewers of I Spy.
Oh, thank you. We all thank you.
Actually, rap is something you express yourself. You got a lot of talent out there. Even like when we was, I feel that, you know, Pac was on a level was incredible. I mean,
he was a great artist.
What about Biggie?
Biggie was a great artist.
Hey, you're not really mad at P. Diddy, are you?
I mean, you know what? The whole thing about it, P. Diddy, P. whatever. You gotta everybody keep it. I know I probably sound like I'm repeating myself, but I really feel this way. We need to leave Puffy alone. Anytime a guy goes on national TV, express how much he loved this woman, how much he needs this woman, how much he missed this woman, and just do everything he can for this woman, and she turns around and drops you for a dancer.
Okay, I think this was right after the shooting in the club, and then she dumped him for who was it? Not Chris Judd.
Yeah, it was Chris Judd.
It was Chris Judd. Okay, I got that right. The chronology, because she's she goes from guys to guys like a Domino Pizza delivery guy. So, and she, she went really famous to really like nobody, and it was almost as if. I mean, we didn't know now all the baby oil stuff and the latest P. Diddy stuff, but Puff Daddy, whatever. We know that there was that scene was suspect.
Well, he was talking about that he's on TV screaming and crying for it. He's referencing a song that he did, what Diddy did with Usher called "I Need a Girl," and basically that whole song is a love note, a love song to Jennifer Lopez. And it's like, yeah, you almost got her locked up. You gave her the gun that was used in the shooting.
No kidding.
She's done. She's out of here.
Yeah, big time.
What does that tell you?
What is that?
Let me tell you the two things. Either he wasn't, delivering coming from the hip with it.
Yeah.
Or,
right.
Or maybe she just wanted somebody she can just slap around, I thought.
Wow,
she can bitch slap every now and then. But then again...
Is that embarrassing to...
Then again, I looked at it again, I got to start getting mixed feelings. I said, wait a minute. But Puffy a dancer too, so she probably said, wait a minute. What's the difference between having a dancer with a little money and a dancer with no money? She still have a dancer.
That's a good diss. I mean, I forgot that Diddy, he has, because a lot of these charges go back to the 90s and stuff, the supposed accusations, whatever. But he really was like a hype guy as well. Like early on, he wasn't always. Was he always a producer? I don't seem to recall that.
He was into, when he first started, he was an event organizer. Then he got linked up with Andre Harrell. That's what got into the music industry. He was talent scouting. He was looking for artists. He was one of those guys that got on the ground floor for like Mary J. Blige and Jodeci and all those guys. Then ran into Notorious Big, and that's what really blew it up. And that's how Bad Boy, Craig Mack, those guys came up early on and such. And that's what really blew him up for the game. But like you mentioned, the all the stuff that's coming out to light nowadays, a lot of us heard these stories in the 90s about Diddy. We've heard a lot of suspect stuff from back then.
You know what I found fascinating when, someone, how they have those on Facebook, they have reels, I think, and it's just basically meant to be a low rent TikTok or a low rent Instagram. At any rate, someone posted something I had never seen before, even though I knew his history. Ice-T as a break dancer, as a b-boy back in the day. And he had some moves. Like, he really wasn't, and someone posted it on his Twitter, I think, not long afterwards. Someone forwarded it to him, and he was like, "Yep, that was me back in the day when I was trying to fool people into thinking I was the next, what's his name, that passed away, the Gregory Hines,
Right. He and he was in Breaking 2, and he went in as a dancer. But then they heard that he was a rapper as well, and his rapping was a bit more needed than his dancing for those movies.
So kidding.
They used him as the hype man rapper, and during the battle scenes, the breakdancing battle scenes.
Yeah,
right.
So pretty soon, I think J-Lo finna graduate from the dancers and get some.
So when you were in prison and you see that J-Lo broke up with P. Diddy, you would laugh at that. That's, in other words, it's very disrespectful.
It's very disrespectful.
Make him look bad?
Made him look like a bitch.
Right.
If he go around, he promoted her, he helped her, he took us to a certain level, he gave her that ghetto credibility, and he was like telling her, he believed in her, he told her she can do it. And from the rings, from the chains, and all those type of things, and they say she snitched on him, but I like J-Lo. I think J-Lo very, very good people. I think she got a nice look about herself.
Yeah. If she went out with you, she wouldn't be leaving you, would she?
If she went out with me, her whole attitude would be different.
Right. She would go out with you, and she would be satisfied sexually, I would assume.
I would take care of her
every way.
Sexually, physically, mentally, but the whole thing about it,
women don't leave you.
Well, wait a minute. Has he dated anyone famous?
One of the things you got to realize, I think any woman I date going to be famous.
Yeah.
Now, he is right about that. Like, J-Lo definitely was trying to make that play into the music industry and get, it was a smart move. Well, it wasn't. It turned out not to be smart, but it was a smart move initially to be associated with Diddy, that's how big he was at the time, considering all that.
Yeah, she's been Jenny from the block, but we all knew that Jenny from the block wasn't from the Bronx that people thought that she was from. She came from a two-parent home, and actually went to good schools and stuff. So she might have been trying to find that hood credibility, but it wasn't from the rest of the country. It was just maybe from home, because the rest of the country didn't care. They were like, "Oh, she's from the Bronx. Oh, that's dangerous." So they didn't really. I think with her and Diddy, it was just more about just the excitement. Especially at that time, they were both climbing and had status, and it was just that fun times. But it wasn't anything to say that for me not to say that it was really about hood credibility. I don't think so.
Well, no, yeah, it would be more of a social climbing thing based on the level, like you said, of success. More like successful people hang out with successful people, that kind of thing. Because she was making her bones in the film industry big time, and I can't remember what the it was well after U-Turn, well after Selena and stuff, and she was going into like Made in Manhattan years, and really that's where her bread and butter was for a while there, the films before rather than. Like, what was that one she did with, she'd have to she did that Jersey Girl, no, Geely. She did Geely around 2003.
Jersey Girl, they both, she was both in, she had those bombs.
Yeah, briefly, and then maybe she did need to reinvent herself on the record, on record, for a little bit. Jenny from the Bomb.
Yeah, but I mean, have you dated anyone that was already famous?
You got a positive attitude.
I got a positive attitude. I like J-Lo.
Have you dated famous women?
I seen the J-Lo sex tape.
You have?
Yeah.
Is it for real?
Wait a second. You've seen the J-Lo sex tape? Really? Who's on it with her? Who's having sex with her? P. Diddy?
No, she got some women, some guys,
Really?
And that's for real.
Okay, now he rescinded this back in the day. I remember specifically because I looked it up when I heard the audio, and I looked up any kind of news article, and he backed out of it because he knew that she was going to sue him for some type of libel, whatever. But it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest that there is something out there with her in it.
But it said that it's still a possibility because they said that there's been talk that it's probably something that might come up in the case. So they're saying there might be something out there.
There's going to be some court official with the sticky fingers where this thing finds its way to the Pornhub.
Yeah. Yeah.
Vivid video. But if it involves like people that are going after him, then no, it never will see the light of day.
Right.
Put it to you like this: Pamela Lee is PG.
Really?
J-Lo.
Are you in this video? Did you star in this video?
No, I was in a penitentiary.
But how did you get it?
Well, certain things you just don't talk about. But I say,
really?
But out of respect to J-Lo, if you listen, I'm the one who didn't turn you over.
Well, that's very honorable.
Be out.
How can I get?
And you got to think at this time too, a lot of that was that era where a lot of these sex tapes were coming out, celebrity sex tapes. And at this time, the biggest one that was out at that time was the R. Kelly. So it wouldn't have been far-fetched that Jennifer Lopez would have probably had.
Well, I mean, it was big in the news. I don't know if people were I'm sure loads of people wanted to see it, to see if it actually existed, whether it was true or not. They didn't want, to see underage women on there. But the R. Kelly one, how many years afterwards did they finally bust him?
Oh, for that, it had to be maybe 10, more than 10. But it had to be. Because I remember distinctly, it was around 2001, 2002 when that tape went out. Yeah. It was, especially in New York, that tape was huge. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Then you realize that.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying, after, once you get to a certain point, you go, I shouldn't be watching this. Yeah, get this out of here.
Yeah, like Tracy Lord's videos,
Yeah, I think the feds are going to be knocking on my door soon. I'm going to have
No kidding.
To ask Mr. Knight a question.
Go ahead.
First of all, I think we should, prank call Puffy and put the fear of Jesus in him. And I'd like to ask him, where are all the white women at? And I'll tell you where the white women are at, pal. They're at Home Depot buying Windows treatments. That's
Windows treatments.
All right, listen. So what you're saying here today, if I can sum up, is your record label is back. In fact, the new album, the new Crooked album, is coming out soon. Crooked Eye.
Go figure. Even 22 years ago, Howard can't nail a plug.
The new Crooked album.
Like rapper.
We got
Crooked Eye.
We got Crooked Eye coming out.
Yeah.
We have Young Gotti, which is Corrupt, coming out. Corrupt is back on the road.
Okay.
As not only as an artist, but also as a little young entrepreneur who's doing great things. We got Eastwood. We got PB.
You got a website, theroad.com?
Yeah, we do got one of them.
Do you have distribution?
Definitely.
Okay.
I think a lot of this stuff made it out in the way of like lost tapes or archives, like well after it was supposed to have. And I'm sure it was just because he had cash flow problems getting stuff released, getting he's like talking about distribution, but I think he had serious problems getting distribution.
Yeah, he became what do you call that, persona non grata? Like nobody would want to touch him.
Yeah, and it was not exactly like, God, late 90s Prince tried that crystal ball shit, and it was a big debacle. It was people, delays, nobody got what they were supposed to get. It's like Casey's DVD that a lot of people paid money for and never received. But with that would have been very problematic. 2006, 2007, not such a big deal. You could be like Jackie, make them in the basement and sell them, but and through Amazon or whatever. But yeah, you're not going to make it. You're not going to produce 1 million in your basement and sell them. No.
Start distribution you a little bit.
What about bitches in jail though? Can you get any women snuck in there until you can relieve yourself?
What I do, I got a appeals program that I pick out 1 to 2 inmates a year from the state, from the federal system, and the women's prison. Actually, not the inmates, they convicts. There's a big difference. And a lot of people who's in prison deserve to be in prison. Some people don't deserve to be in prison. Some people got too much time. So I'm trying to do things also because a lot of these kids that's missing their daddies. A lot of these women that's missing their mothers. I mean, these girls.
No, I'm saying, did you have sex while you were in prison? Were you able to get women snuck into the joint?
No, you can't do that. I mean, every now and then, maybe officer might give you a little look, but I was cool on that.
No sex for how many years did you go without?
Well, I'll put it to you like this.
Yeah.
Well, still today, if I go to the grocery store, I gotta stay away from the cosmetic section because somebody might be trying on some lotions. If I smell some Jergens, I'm gonna get excited.
So what happened when you got out of prison? Did you ever?
As long as it isn't baby oil.
Listen, when he says that, I don't know whether he's rubbing it on his own hands or he's putting it somewhere else on somebody else. So I don't know.
We're going to presume he's all man and it was all self-manipulation, but you guys judge for yourselves.
Go-to girl, as soon as you got out of prison, you just bang her?
I think sex is like an art. You just don't go banging. That's the problem.
Really?
You gotta.
I know that, but a lot of these people in this room don't know that. Yeah.
You got to be the most nastiest man in the world if you got a woman. Because if you're not doing something, somebody else will.
That's right. You got to. So you have a girlfriend now?
Is there a
Mrs. Knight?
I'm gonna tell you like this. Yeah. I'm gonna bring her on and let her represent herself.
Really?
Yeah, I ain't gonna spoil her.
Will you give oral to a woman? A lot of black guys do not like doing that. They consider it. That's true.
Let me tell you like this. To be honest with you, I'm a ball to ball, strike to strike. You can say ass on the station. Right?
You can say ass.
That's my ass.
Mm-hmm.
That's me. Right?
Go ahead.
I will do everything that you think.
You don't have to look at me.
Wait. You'll do everything that.
Everything. You don't
feel it's wrong for a gangster to do that to a woman? Give her oral?
No gangster feels that.
Just put you in a subliminal, rather.
Let's see like this.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm pretty nice up under this sweater. I pick him up in the hand. You will
do it.
I ain't hammer.
Right. But you wouldn't do that to some hoe. It's got to be your woman.
No, I ain't finna do that. I ain't. I know hammer. Hammer.
What is it, Dave? Yeah.
I just want to ask Mr. Knight a question.
Because we're running out of time. Go ahead.
First of all, would Mr. Knight, I'd be honored if you take the time to buck Kai, my white mother.
Bukaki. Oh man!
Can you play that back?
Hold on.
And I know hammer. Hammer.
What is it, Dave? Yeah.
I just want to ask Mr. Knight a question.
Because we're running out of time. Go ahead.
First of all, would Mr. Knight, I'd be honored if you take the time to buck Kai, my white mother.
That's Sal. That's gotta be Sal.
Totally.
No, Dorothy.
No, it wasn't. If it was 2002, it can't be Sal. He wasn't there yet. He wasn't
there. He wasn't there. But like, who else could write that?
It would have to be. Oh my God.
I hit her up.
Would you do that? Yeah. Because she's dating this guy. I can't.
See, he knows how to speak this whole.
Yeah, we're having a conversation.
That's probably one of the things that make things more interesting. Maybe if we had a problem one day, then I could be what? What I'll be, your stepdaddy?
There you go. There you go. And I just want you to know that I fully support the black man's right to suffrage.
Good.
Very good.
Well, there you go.
I was very angry at the way Ginger was treated on that Gilligan's Island reunion.
Hey,
and I'm
Ginger
sure
was
Mr.
black,
Knight
huh?
shares my disdain about that.
Well, I don't know that he cares. I think he's got his own problem.
How much is Suge Knight worth?
Yeah, what are you worth?
Walk out of prison and go back to a mansion?
Yeah, where do you live? What's your lifestyle?
Wherever I put my boots and lay my cigar.
You got a house?
A home. I got a home.
Mansion?
One of the things, before we go, I'd like to give some shout-outs tonight,
In the end, I think they had to put his auction when he filed for Chapter 11. His mansion was something like 9 million. No, not 9 million, 6 point something, and it went for it went up for auction, bankruptcy auction, and someone got it for just under 5 million or something like that. So he clearly was on the balls of his ass.
Yeah, he lost a lot going out. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd say a hell of a lot of that was just lawyer fees.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Some of the homies.
How much are you worth now? Seriously.
Takes for you.
Do you have $10 million?
Daru, we hung out last night at the club. The little homie.
Where'd you go? Scores?
You know what? Scores not bad.
Yeah, it's fun, isn't it?
If you see what I see at Scores, I mean, it's a lot of guys who's married, wife be at Scores.
Right.
So either way you go, you're going to score if you want to. Either you're going to score with the strippers, or you're going to score with the guy wife who's lonely for that night.
That's right. What you do is you go and look and see who's at Scores, and you go to their house and then have sex with their wife. That's smart.
You know what I first do? I go and I let my homies have a good time. You know, some of my homies, they be like, hey, they like big women.
You ever bang a famous chick? Seriously. Give me a direct answer.
One thing you can't do. I'm not big stupid.
Go ahead.
That's Shaq. I'm not going to get on TV and then big stupid say he hit Aaliyah and he hit...
you hit Aaliyah?
No, he's talking about Shaq.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about you. Oh, you think he's being stupid. Okay.
I mean, you don't get on TV.
He says he hit Cindy Crawford.
Yeah, he hit Cindy Crawford. Cindy Crawford's husband should have hit him in his mouth.
Right. But he didn't want to go to jail, though.
Yeah.
So you don't talk about any women you bang?
One thing you gotta do, certain things you don't say. You don't talk about the kids.
Mm-hmm.
You don't talk about old people. And I believe it or not, I do have a lot of respect for women.
You do?
I mean, that's very, very
As
important.
I do.
I mean, because you gotta realize one thing. A lot of these women is more tougher than some of these men.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of these guys is snitches and rats, and a lot of these women is...
You have a code of silence.
Code of silence.
I respect that.
But I'm riding with you, though, Howard. What's happening with you, though? You know, can we...
Oh, I'm down with you.
You down with me?
Oh, absolutely,
and,
bro.
Hey, you know, I was trying to do your show because I liked your show. One thing, you got the most popular show in the penitentiary.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah, we had to set up a phone call that one time.
Yeah, we set up a prison.
We went on lockdown.
We set up you were in lockdown.
I'm sure they really love the Chris Wilding scat stories.
I love the fact that, yeah, man, you got the greatest show in the penitentiary. You popular.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a growing honor to have.
Funny enough, Cabby never bothered telling him after he got, he did that 1 year for, was it tax evasion? Or just, yeah.
The tax evasion.
Yeah.
Down and you couldn't call in, unfortunately.
I couldn't call, but I was so excited. I was like...
Did you run your record company from jail?
You know, certain things is not legal. You can't run a business from prison.
I see. All right.
You can't do it. But you know what? I still was able to take care of my family.
Real quick questions. Aisha, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, what's up? I just wanted to wonder why he's so secretive about women. And he said he let his boys go first with the women.
I didn't say I let my boys go first, baby. I said was when he was talking about a strip club. So I'm sort of graduated from that point where I got to go to strip club and get my rocks off. I said, if my homies want to go, I'll be sure to make sure they have a pocket full of hunters that have a nice time. It's not about being...
just let them go first so the bitch will be tired by the time you get to her so she don't want you.
Oh, is that right? It's good. She's good. She don't want me, baby. But you know what, though? I appreciate that.
When you got out of jail, you weren't even running from none. You weren't even worried. Something wrong with you. You say 95% of the rappers are gay. That's because you hang with them. And you.
Yeah, exactly. I do all that. The only thing I don't do is, hey, that's real good. But you know what? She probably.
What a great caller.
Oh, what a lot. And she slipped that one in. Fudge packer.
Yeah. Big time.
She probably is a man tripping.
I recognize your voice. This is Oprah, isn't it?
This is, baby.
Yeah, Oprah. All right. All right, let's go to Matt. You're on with Suge Knight, fresh out of prison, back being president of the Row. Yes.
Hey, how you doing, Howard?
Yo, yo, yo. What's
How
up?
did he start
Not too much. It's fine. It's nice to finally get through.
Yes.
I've been trying for a long time. Listen, I wanted to ask the guy a question.
Go ahead, ask already. You're boring me.
All right. What's going on with these black people calling each other niggers?
Well, you know.
I don't get that.
It sounds like Snoop to me, by the way.
No, really. I mean, seriously.
Well,
I mean,
you
black
know,
people are so offended.
Hold on, let me break this down. You got certain people talking, call themselves certain things. Like the woman who just called a little while ago. See, if people say we shouldn't say certain things on records. The first thing the bitch said was, it's up to bitches up there. You want everybody to go for the bitch to be tired. What's wrong with the bitch? I think it's freedom of speech. I think people should say what they want.
People can say what they want. If a black guy wants to call another black guy a nigga, it's okay.
This is where I'm supposed to throw a timely bitch in for Kayla because she likes it. She so likes to drop it. I honestly, it's outside of the show. I think I've used it as a verb more than I've used it as as a noun, or like like look at that bitch. No, it's like she was bitching at something. Like that. That's more common usage for me. But I never had any problems. It wasn't a conscious thing. It just ended up being phased out. And these days, the only time I hear it is from women talking about other women.
Or gays talking about the other gays. Or
yes, absolutely. Yeah,
No,
or gays talking to women.
But it's also you get if you use it around women, you get to see the sense of comfort that you might have with that person. So sometimes I'll be one. I'm not afraid to use it. Like I'll sit there in the conversation, let's say depending on what the conversation around, I'll be like, bitch, and they'll just start laughing, and you be like, okay, I guess it could flow here, but that doesn't work all the time. It can always turn at a drop of a dime.
The one that I picked up ages ago from Artie was the term broads. I love it. I absolutely love using it, broads. And I found that when I use it, depending on the story I'm telling or whatever, it's so obviously incredibly dated, but most people still laugh at it.
Look at these dames. These dames.
Yeah.
Look, freedom of speech. Anybody can call anybody a nigga.
I ain't saying it.
It just seems like they make such a big thing out of it. Should
people fear you?
I think anybody who's not living right with themselves should fear something. I don't know if they should fear me, but maybe they should fear God and get.
Is there anything you're afraid of?
What am I afraid of?
Look at this, fearless. Did you go on fearless?
Exercise.
I don't think I want to go back and be a child no more. I love my mama to death. I love my daddy to death.
You're afraid of childhood.
And even though I did things to deserve those whippings, I think I got more whippings. If it was 2002, the way my parents whipped my butt, they'd still be in the penitentiary from there.
They beat your ass every day.
But if it was good though, on the simple fact that I looked at it like this, okay, if I broke a window, I know they really can afford to get the window replaced. So I got my butt whipped. I got my ass.
So you took a lot of beatings as a kid.
Well,
maybe that's where you learned to beat people.
Yeah,
maybe
but when I got to school, I had to take it out on somebody. I couldn't whip pops.
Right.
So
violence begets violence.
Yeah. Violence between violence. So parents out there, do not whip your kids' ass.
I'm afraid, if you want to ask me that, I'm afraid of Evil Dave over there. Yeah. I'm afraid of what you might say.
I'm afraid of Oprah.
Everybody's got fears.
A lot of times I gave the kids time out. Maybe your parents should have given you time out instead of a whooping.
Man, I got beatings.
Really bad, huh? Who's on the phone now? This is Anthony. Go ahead.
I got a few things to say here, Howard. I hope you give me the time. First, I'd like to say, goddamn that Abe Lincoln.
God, I miss these callers.
Oh.
One thing I love about it, whoever he would have, and I'm sure they were mostly in the New York area, or, Philly or whoever, same time zone, right? And they were so fast, these callers, most of the time, when they weren't too busy going, "Hi, I can't believe I'm on the air. How are you?" When they went right into it. And it was almost like you had another guest on. Like it wasn't just, you had, it was like almost like a special effect to have these people call in and riff.
Yeah, because a lot of times either they were regulars or they just knew the flow of the show. And it also had to deal with the call screener as well. I can't stand the dude to this day, but John would know how to do it and pick somebody at certain points in time. But what even got better is when Will and the other kid got hired, and they were able to pick up the call screenings and know who would be able to be sharp and quick with it. So that actually picked up more during that early 2000s era.
One of my favorites was when they recorded Gary talking Ebonics to D.L. Hughley.
Oh my! See, I want to know who wrote that script. That's hilarious. Yeah, because we got this smoking the blunts with the homies. Like,
when would that have been? Like 98, like Kings of Comedy era, 96 maybe.
Well, I think Kings of Comedy was early 2000s, so it might have been.
Hold on, let's see.
No. It might have been like 96, 97. You're right. Yeah, probably. But I think it was later than that they did that call, because I think Hughley was already moving away from that. I think he might have been on his show, or he had his own sitcom when that was happening.
You're correct. It was 2000. You're right. Correct.
Yeah. So
okay, because I know that Jackie was still on the show. I remember that much, but because I could hear Jackie's laugh when he was listening to Gary on the tape.
It had to be around like 2000, 2001, around that time, because Jackie left in 01. So
they had one caller on. He's just talking, like he's talking Ebonics, like he's talking like Gary, and he goes, "You black?" Goes, "No, man, I'm a Jew from Brooklyn. I got a yarmulke and everything." He just changes his affectation, and it's like it flowed perfectly. Jackie lost it. He couldn't stop.
I love the D.O. Hughley one, because D.O. Hughley's like, he's going with the flow. Then after he said like a certain thing, whatever, he's like, yeah, because we be out here cracking 40s with the bitches or something like that. He goes, "Oh really? Like, oh okay."
Yeah.
He's like,
God, it was good. Meanwhile, D.L. Hughley's interviews on Vlad TV are excellent. They're really, really good. He does periodic interviews with Vlad, and they're always entertaining.
Yeah, I love his interviews. Hughley's actually not a big fan of Vlad, but I love Hughley. He's open and honest.
Yeah, I'm not Vlad. I'm indifferent, but it's just like that's a place where these people get a long-term forum, where they could long-form, outlet to be heard, and some of them are great.
He and Ari Spears,
yeah.
When he's on there as well, it's great. It's great conversation.
Totally.
Hey, Lincoln.
Right. And number two, I called you before on numerous occasions when you had these rappers on. I think they're the worst addition to society ever. I think that these black guys have actually fronted themselves with these businesses that they have. They're whatever they have, whether it's a record company or any other legitimate business to front their drug business. I think that these guys are full of crap.
Do you think this guy's fair in any way? Are you behind a drug business?
Are you fronting a drug business with a record company?
Yeah. Definitely not. One of the things you got to realize is this. People have a lot to say, right? If you look at it, a lot of these businesses, a lot of these companies was built off of bootlegging money.
Right.
Before it was...
That's why I asked you, how did you start your business?
Bootlegging.
I started my business old-fashioned, black way. Get what you can, how you can. I didn't do anything illegal. And I did that. I was on a 10-year investigation by the government.
Mm-hmm.
And
you came out clean?
Came out clean.
Right.
One of the things, all the snitches and the lies was just lying on me. And it goes to show that if you're doing the right thing, you win at the end. One thing you got to realize is, as far as the educational part, is that people don't understand. It's harder to do something illegal than legal, on a simple fact that if you're doing something illegal, you got to win every day. If you're doing something illegal, the police out only got to win once. But if you're doing something legit, you might have to put a little more work in, but it's going to be better benefits for you. So anytime somebody's doing something wrong, it catches up to you.
Dave, have you
So it worked out well for him in the end. We see where he is now.
Yeah, great job there, buddy. You should write a book about that.
No kidding. Anyway, I want to thank you so much for helping me with this trip down memory lane. It's good to get some of these good old interviews in. I toyed with the idea of maybe doing one of the wrestling ones, a couple of them, but they're some of them are good. Some of them are actually the one with Roddy was quite good because Howard was a little more respectful to some of the older ones. But it would have been Vince Russo pushing those on the show, I suppose, at the time.
Yeah, I spoke to Casey about that. Casey said he didn't really have much involved in it, but he said he did know a lot of them, so he helped to push that through. Sean Oliver, who was a huge Stern guy, was the one that helped to pipe through during the Sirius era, like certain guys, like when Sheik would come on and stuff like that. But also, later on, Richard used to be a wrestling fan. He would also try to connect with them as well for that.
Yeah, Florentine as well. He loves the old wrestlers, and he had a great story about the collecting cards and a guy that I'll let him tell the story next time we have an interview with him.
Oh, okay.
It was almost like Gary and the Chocolates, if you know what I mean.
Oh.
Yeah. And another one we'll cover in later time. Anyway, any shout outs before we wrap this one up?
Yeah, once again, you guys, if you're into talking wrestling, listening about wrestling, make sure you check us out at Turnbuckle Tabloid on all podcasting outlets. We're available. Make sure you check us out on New York Wrestle Media on YouTube as well. We cover everything from wrestling to video games to pop culture, whatever tickles your fancy. Interview segments, one-to-ones and such, and countdowns. Be a part of that as well. And also, much love to all you guys on QF, man. I missed you guys on the Facebook page. Now that I'm back on Facebook again, I'm glad that I can see the buffoonery once again.
Just out of curiosity, is your old account gone now for good? Like, did you put the kibosh on it or what?
It's washed. It's done. It's
okay. That's pity. So many links in that thing. I'll keep the thread anyway. But thank you so much, man. And thank you guys for listening. Take care. We love you.
Goodbye, my sweet loves.
Okay? And I'm going to fly out there next week, and I'm going to straighten your ass out. And I'm going to make sure that you really get it. I'm going to make sure that you know what a rude, thoughtless little pig you really are. Do you understand? You're a rude, thoughtless pig. So be ready on Friday the 20th, because I'm coming out there. I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to turn around. I'm going to fly right back home. You are a rude, thoughtless pig.